Wait. Don't scroll. Just breathe for a moment. You've been feeling something lately, haven't you? A kind of quiet distance, a shift inside your chest, a strange, unexplainable separation from people you once felt close to. It's like you're still here, but your heart has stepped somewhere else. You can't go back to how things were, but you don't fully understand where you're going either. You're in the middle, between who you used to be and who you're becoming. And that space feels lonely, confusing, heavy, silent. You wonder, why is everyone leaving? Why don't I fit in anymore? Why does my heart feel different now? Listen to me. You are not losing anything. You are outgrowing. There are certain people, certain environments, certain habits, certain ways of living, and that your soul cannot breathe in anymore. Not because they're bad, not because you're better, but because your spirit is rising, and they cannot rise with you. This loneliness you feel is not emptiness. It is transition. It is your soul quietly saying, we are done with who we were. It's time to become who we were meant to be. And I promise you, once you understand what this season really is, your entire life will begin to make sense. So don't leave. Don't click off. Don't disappear back into distraction. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you is the part of your story no one ever explained. The part your heart has been waiting for. The part that will make you finally understand why Allah is removing people from your life, and why it's not loss, but preparation. Stay. This is where everything becomes clear. Allah separates you to save your soul. There are moments in life when your heart begins to feel something before your mind understands it. You start feeling uncomfortable in places that once felt familiar. You start going quiet in rooms you once filled with laughter. You start observing instead of speaking. You start listening to the silence within your own chest. This is not sadness. This is not distance. This is your soul trying to tell you something. Something inside you is shifting. Something inside you is waking up. Something inside you is remembering its worth. But the people around you can't see this happening. They only see your silence. They only notice your change. They only feel your distance. They don't know that this distance is not from them, it is toward yourself. You were giving pieces of your soul to people who didn't even know how to hold them. You were pouring love into hands that were too full or too careless to receive it. You were showing loyalty to hearts that were never loyal to themselves. And the sad part? You didn't even know it. You thought you were just being kind. You thought you were just being understanding. You thought you were doing the right thing, but your soul was breaking silently. And when a soul breaks, the world outside never sees it. It doesn't shatter loudly. It cracks quietly. It cracks in the late hours of the night. It cracks in the moments when you're alone. It cracks in the part of your heart that no one else knows how to reach. And Allah knows. Allah always knows. He knew you would never leave that friendship. He knew you would never walk away from that relationship. He knew you would keep forgiving, keep explaining, keep trying, keep carrying the weight even when the weight was killing you. So Allah intervened. He didn't shake the earth. He didn't send signs written across the sky. He simply allowed the connection to fade. He allowed the distance to grow. He allowed conversations to become shorter, colder, emptier. He allowed your heart to detach for reasons you couldn't explain. You may have tried to hold on. You may have tried to fix it. You may have tried to remind them of how things used to be. You may have cried in silence, wondering why the closeness disappeared. But the truth is, your soul had begun to outgrow the environment it was once comfortable in. Growth is not always exciting. Sometimes growth feels like losing everything. Sometimes growth feels like walking away with tears in your eyes. Sometimes growth feels like sitting alone in a room that used to be full. But even in the loneliness, something is happening. Your heart is learning to breathe again. Your mind is learning to see clearly again. your spirit is learning to stand again. And this time, it is standing without needing validation, approval, or permission from anyone. The people you were attached to, you loved them, you prayed for them, you cared in a way they may never understand. There is nothing wrong with that. It means your soul was soft. It means your heart was sincere. But sincerity without wisdom leads to exhaustion. Love without boundaries leads to self-sacrifice that destroys the self. Loyalty without discernment leads to heartbreak that feels endless. You gave too much, and they gave too little. Or worse, they gave just enough to keep you from walking away, but not enough to truly love you. And your soul knew. Your soul felt the imbalance. Your soul recognized the danger. So the soul began to pull back, slowly, not out of anger, not out of pride, not out of ego, but out of self-preservation, because your soul is not just emotional, it is spiritual. It recognizes what drains it. It recognizes what suffocates it. It recognizes what harms it, even when your mind denies it. And Allah listened to your soul. Allah saw the tears you couldn't explain. Allah saw the heaviness you carried for too long. Allah saw how tired your heart was from trying to be strong for everyone else. So Allah protected you the only way protection sometimes looks. He separated you. Separation is not always loud. Sometimes separation is the slow fading of a connection that once felt unbreakable. Sometimes separation is simply waking up one day and realizing, I don't belong here anymore. Not because you're better, not because they're worse, but because your soul is being called somewhere else. Somewhere quieter, somewhere softer, somewhere truer. And yes, you will cry. Yes, you will miss them. Yes, your chest will ache when memories return, because love does not disappear instantly. Attachments do not dissolve in a day, but pain does not mean the separation was wrong. Pain is simply the echo of something that needed to end. Pain is the doorway to your next chapter. This is not the breaking of your story. This is the unfolding of your becoming. Your heart no longer fits where your past self belonged. There comes a moment in life when you look around at everything that once felt like home, and something feels different. The streets are the same, the faces are the same, the conversations are the same, but you are not the same. It's like your heart is gently whispering, I don't belong here anymore. Not because you hate anyone, not because you're ungrateful, not because you think you're better. None of that. It's simply because your heart has grown in a direction that the world around you has not. You used to enjoy certain conversations. Now they feel empty. You used to laugh at certain jokes. Now they feel hollow. You used to feel alive in certain environments. Now they feel too loud, too heavy, too shallow. It's not the world that changed. It's your heart that has changed. You are outgrowing the version of yourself that used to survive there. Your past self needed those people. Your past self needed those places. Your past self needed those moments of distraction, noise, attachment, and comfort. But that version of you no longer exists. Your heart has stepped into a new stage of life, a quieter one, a softer one, a more meaningful one. The world you used to fit into doesn't feel like home anymore because it was only meant for the person you used to be, not the person you are becoming. Growth is uncomfortable, not because the new is painful, but because the old no longer holds space for you. You sit with people and find yourself silent. You scroll through your phone and feel nothing. You try to force excitement for things you used to love, and your heart remains still. Your heart is transforming. Your soul is waking up. Your spirit is rising. And when the soul rises, the world that once pleased it begins to taste different. You start noticing what you didn't see before. The conversations that revolve around negativity. The friendships that survive on gossip. The relationships that lack sincerity. The gatherings that drain your energy instead of feeding your soul, your heart begins to crave depth, not noise, not attention, not approval, but depth. Depth in connection, depth in purpose, depth in peace, depth in love, depth in silence. And that depth is something not everyone around you can understand, so you slowly begin to pull away, not physically, but inwardly. You're still present, but you feel distant. You still smile, but something behind the smile is quiet. You still care, but your heart is careful now. You're no longer chasing to belong. You're learning to stand alone. And this is where most people misunderstand you. They think you've changed. Yes, you have. They think you're different now. Yes, you are. They think you are distant. Yes, your heart has traveled somewhere they haven't reached yet. You are not the person they used to know. You are the person you were always meant to become. And sometimes the heart realizes the truth long before the mind can accept it. You cannot return to who you used to be. You have outgrown that version of yourself. You have outgrown the conversations that kept you small. You have outgrown the spaces that no longer match your healing. You have outgrown the role you used to play in people's lives. Your heart is no longer trying to fit into rooms that were built for your past. The new version of you needs new soil to grow in, new air to breathe, new silence to understand, new peace to protect. You are not lost. You are being transitioned. This is not an ending. This is a passing through, a bridge from who you were into who you are becoming. And yes, it feels lonely. Growth often does. But loneliness is not emptiness. Loneliness is space. Space for the new. Space for clarity. Space for truth. Space for yourself. Your heart is making room for a life that matches its maturity. You are not moving away from people. You are moving toward your soul. Not everyone is meant to stay for the journey. There are people who walk into your life and it feels like they were always meant to be there. You connect instantly. You trust without trying. You open your heart without fear. And for a moment, you truly believe that they are part of your forever. But not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people are written into your story for a chapter, not the entire book. They come to teach you something your soul needed. They come to awaken a part of your heart that was sleeping. They come to show you pieces of yourself you didn't know existed. They come to prepare you for where you're heading next. But when their purpose in your life is complete, the chapter has to close. And this is where the heart struggles most, because the heart does not understand endings the way destiny does. You wonder why someone so close suddenly feels far. You wonder why someone you trusted begins to fade. You wonder why someone you thought would be beside you forever begins to slip into silence. It's confusing. It's painful. It feels personal. But it isn't always personal. Sometimes it's divine timing. There are certain people you cannot carry into your future because they belong to the version of yourself you are leaving behind. If they stayed, they would hold you back. If they stayed, they would slow your growth. If they stayed, your heart would never learn how to stand on its own. Some souls come to build you. Others come to break you open so that your real strength can rise. Some come as blessings, others come as lessons, and both are necessary. If every person stayed, you would never learn how to release. If every relationship lasted, you would never understand what truly matters. If every bond was meant to be forever, you would never grow into the person your destiny requires. You are not meant to hold every hand. You are not meant to walk every path together. You are not meant to stay where life naturally ends. There are people you outgrow not because they are bad, not because they are wrong, but because your souls are traveling in different directions now. You are evolving. You are rising. You are changing from the inside. And some people cannot rise with you, not because they don't want to, but because their journey is not your journey. They were the right person for a certain time in your life, for a certain version of you, for a certain stage of your growth. You needed them then, and they needed you. But that moment has passed. The hardest part is accepting that love does not always mean staying. Sometimes love means letting go. Sometimes love means whispering thank you to the memory instead of holding on to the person. Sometimes love means walking away with grace instead of forcing something to survive that is quietly trying to end. If you try to hold on to what is meant to leave, you will only break your own heart. Your heart is not breaking because they're gone. Your heart is breaking because your soul knows the chapter is over and your mind is struggling to accept it. You are not losing them. You are returning to yourself. When life removes someone, it is not loss, it is alignment. Your life is making space. Your soul is clearing room. Your journey is preparing for what is ahead. There are people destined for your future who will understand your silence, feel your depth, honor your heart, and walk with you at the speed of your healing. But you cannot meet them while holding on to who has already served their part in your story. Let go, not with bitterness, but with peace. They were meant to be part of your story, but not your ending. The journey continues, and so do you. The soul begins to desire peace more than company. There comes a moment in life when you start to notice something subtle inside of you changing. It's quiet, it's gentle, but it's powerful. You start realizing that your soul is tired. Not tired in the way rest can fix, but tired of noise, tired of drama, tired of pretending, tired of forcing connections. You begin to crave something different, something softer, something real, something peaceful. You used to run toward crowds. Now you feel most alive in silence. You used to fill your days with people. Now you guard your time like treasure. You used to talk just to fill the air. Now silence feels like a friend. This is not loneliness. This is healing. There was a time your heart accepted anything just to avoid being alone. You tolerated conversations that drained you. You allowed company that didn't understand you. You stayed in rooms where your soul felt small. But now, you can feel the difference. Your heart no longer wants to be around people who pull you away from yourself. Your soul no longer feels safe in places where it has to defend its own peace. You no longer have the strength to bend just to be accepted. Something inside you whispers, I don't want noise anymore. I want peace. You start noticing how your chest feels around certain people, how your energy shifts, how your breathing changes, how your spirit reacts. There are people who make your soul feel heavy, even if they smile and act kind. There are places where your heart feels anxious, even if everything looks normal from the outside. There are conversations that feel loud, even when the words are quiet. Your soul knows. Your soul remembers. Your soul recognizes what is not good for it, and your soul begins to guide you away. At first, you feel guilty for wanting space. You feel wrong for being quiet. You feel strange for needing solitude, because the world taught you that being alone is something to fear. But now, your heart is learning that being alone is sometimes the only place where it can breathe. You start sitting with yourself, and instead of feeling empty, you feel relief. You feel the weight lifting. You feel the noise settling. You feel the world calming inside of you. Peace begins to replace the chaos. Clarity begins to replace confusion. Stillness begins to replace exhaustion. And in that stillness, something beautiful happens. You start hearing yourself again. You start trusting your intuition. You start recognizing your needs. You start listening to your heart. You realize that peace was not something you were supposed to search for in other people. It was something your soul was always carrying, but it was drowned beneath too much noise. You were surrounded by people, yet your heart felt alone. But now you sit with yourself, and your heart feels understood. This is growth. This is maturity. This is transformation. You are not pushing people away. You are returning to yourself. Your soul is not asking for isolation. Your soul is asking for peace. Real peace. Peace that doesn't need validation. Peace that doesn't need attention. Peace that doesn't need noise to feel alive. Peace that feels like breathing without effort. Peace that feels like your chest finally unclenched. Peace that feels like you have come home to yourself. This shift is not something you choose. It happens naturally when the soul has seen what chaos does to it. The soul becomes tired of fighting to be understood, tired of forcing connection, tired of carrying what was never meant to be held alone. So the soul begins to slow down. It begins to soften. It begins to protect itself, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. You start preferring people who speak kindly. You start preferring environments that feel gentle. You start preferring silence over unnecessary conversation. You start preferring being alone over being misunderstood. Not everyone will understand this version of you. Some will say you've changed. Some will say you're distant. Some will say you're quiet. But they don't see the battles your soul had to fight just to arrive here. They don't understand the storms your heart survived just to reach this peace. They weren't there when you cried for strength, for clarity, for escape from the noise. But Allah was, and your soul remembers that. So now, peace is no longer something you want. It is something you need to survive. Allah removes what blocks your next blessing. There are moments in your life where you feel like everything is being taken away from you. People leave. Opportunities fall apart. Plans collapse. Doors close. And you sit there wondering, why? Why now? Why this? Why me? You replay the moments in your mind again and again. You try to fix what is slipping away. You hold on tighter. You blame yourself. You think you are losing something you needed. But what you don't realize is that sometimes the things you're trying to save are the same things that are blocking your blessing. There are people you are attached to who cannot walk with you into your future. There are habits you hold on to that prevent your spirit from rising. There are environments you stay in that keep your heart trapped in old pain. There are versions of yourself you are still protecting that your soul has already outgrown. Your hands were full. Your heart was crowded. Your life was too noisy. So Allah cleared space, not to hurt you, not to punish you, not to break you, but to prepare you. Because what is coming next requires room. It requires a heart that is not weighed down. It requires a soul that is not exhausted. It requires a spirit that is ready to receive. You kept asking for guidance. You kept praying for change. You kept begging for peace. But you did not realize that in order for something new to enter, something old must leave. And sometimes the old does not walk out willingly. It must be removed. There were people you would have never released on your own. People you loved. People you trusted. People you believed were meant to stay. But Allah saw what you didn't. He saw their intentions. He saw their hearts. He saw the direction of their spirit. He saw how they were blocking your growth, your peace, your healing, your rise. So, He took them away for you. It may have felt like betrayal. It may have felt like heartbreak. It may have felt like losing a part of yourself. But in reality, you were being protected from what could have destroyed you later. There are blessings written for you that require you to be lighter than you are now. You cannot receive a blessing meant for your healed self while you are still chained to your wounded self. You cannot enter your next chapter carrying people who were only meant for your previous one. Growth is not clean. Growth is not gentle. Growth is not always beautiful while it is happening. Sometimes growth feels like being broken. Sometimes growth feels like being abandoned. Sometimes growth feels like standing in the ruins of the life you were sure would last forever. But look closer. Those ruins are not your ending. They are the ground being cleared for your new beginning. Life is not falling apart. It is being rearranged. Your story is not closing. It is shifting. Your heart is not being emptied. It is being prepared. Prepared for something bigger, something truer, something aligned with who you are becoming, not who you were forced to be. The blessing is already written. It is already chosen. It is already on its way. But you cannot receive it with hands full of what drains you. You cannot receive it with a heart still tied to what hurt you. You cannot receive it while clinging to what Allah has already removed. Letting go is not weakness. Letting go is trust. Letting go is the soul recognizing that it is being carried to something better. You are not being left empty. You are being cleared. You are not being abandoned. You are being prepared. You are not losing. You are making space. Your next blessing is closer than you think, closer than your fear, closer than your doubt, closer than the pain you're holding on to. But to receive it, you must let go of what was never meant to stay. There is something you must understand. What you lost was never meant to carry your destiny. If it was meant to stay, no matter how difficult life became, it would have stayed. If it was meant to be yours, nothing could have taken it away. If it was written for your soul, it would have matched your growth, not chained you to your past. But the moment your spirit began to rise, the things that lived in your lower self could no longer stay. Your growth created separation. This is why the connections that used to feel natural now feel heavy. This is why certain conversations now feel shallow. This is why the places you once loved now feel uncomfortable. This is why the people you used to run toward now drain you. Your spirit has started to remember who it is, but the world around you has not changed with you. So distance forms, not because you walked away, not because they let go, but because your souls are no longer aligned. And when two hearts are no longer aligned, no force on earth can hold them together. Even love cannot stop what your soul has outgrown. This is why letting go hurts. This is why your chest feels heavy. This is why your nights feel lonely. This is why your silence is filled with questions. Because your heart is grieving the end of a chapter your soul has already closed. You are not just letting go of people. You are letting go of a version of yourself that was attached to them. That is why it feels so painful. You are not losing them. You are shedding your past. And your past will not go quietly. It will pull you. It will tempt you. It will whisper memories. It will replay moments. It will try to convince you to return. Because the past fears being forgotten. It tries to convince you that you will never find anything better. It tells you that you were safest where you were. But your heart knows the truth. Your heart knows it is being called forward. Your heart knows it is being reshaped. Your heart knows it is being prepared. Prepared for blessings that require a different version of you. A wiser version, a calmer version, a healed version. The blessing you are walking toward cannot be received by the version of you that was breaking to keep others comfortable. So, life removed what you could not let go of, not to take from you, but to free you. One day, you will look back at this moment and understand. You were not being abandoned, you were being risen. You were not being punished, you were being rebuilt. You were not being broken, you were being opened. Open to love that is gentle. Opened to friendships that uplift you. Open to purpose that makes your soul feel alive. Open to peace that feels like breathing for the first time. You are not the same person you were a year ago. You are not even the same person you were a month ago. Your soul is stretching. Your heart is unfolding. Your life is shifting. This is why things are leaving. This is why new things are not here yet. This space in between, this painful, silent, confusing space, is where the blessing prepares you to receive it. Nothing is being taken away from you. Everything is being realigned for you. The delay is not denial. The silence is not neglect. The separation is not loss. It is preparation. And when the blessing comes, it will make sense. It will feel natural. It will feel peaceful. It will not exhaust your heart. It will not break your spirit. It will not require you to shrink yourself to keep it. It will feel like something returning home to you, because it will be written for who you have become, not who you were trying to be. Hidden envy is more dangerous than open hate. There are people who will never admit what they feel toward you. They will smile, they will speak kindly, they will stand beside you. But deep inside, they are burning, not because you hurt them, not because you did something wrong, not because you took something from them, but simply because your light reminds them of what they have not yet built inside themselves. Your growth exposes their stagnation. Your healing exposes their wounds. Your peace exposes their chaos. Your rise exposes their fear of rising. And instead of being inspired, they become envious. But they will never say it out loud. Envy rarely speaks. Envy watches. Envy studies. Envy waits. It waits for moments when you are weak. It waits for moments when you are tired. It waits for moments when you are vulnerable, so it can slip in quietly and break you from the inside. You think envy is loud, you think it shows itself. But the most dangerous envy is the one that hides behind love. The kind that hugs you and hopes you fall. The kind that praises you but cannot stand to see you shine. The kind that listens to your dreams and prays they never come true. The kind that looks at your happiness and feels pain instead of joy. This is the envy that Allah removes you from even when you don't understand why. There were people you trusted because you believed shared history meant shared hearts. There were people you opened your deepest wounds to because you believed your care was mutual. There were people you defended, protected, and stood beside, unaware that they were quietly wishing for your downfall. Not dramatically, not loudly, but silently, quietly, privately, in the corners of their soul where their pride lives, where their insecurities whisper, where their wounds speak. They would never harm you directly, that would reveal too much. So they harm you indirectly, with subtle words that make you doubt yourself, with comments that seem small but cut deeply, with energy that feels heavy even if their face is smiling. Your spirit can feel it even when your mind cannot explain it. You walked away from some people without any clear reason. No fight, no betrayal, no moment of destruction. Just a quiet knowing that your heart was no longer safe there. That was protection. That was mercy. That was your Lord removing you from a hidden fire. You didn't see the poison, but He did. You didn't see the intentions, but He did. You didn't see the silent war being waged against your happiness, but He did. So, He separated you. He created distance. He turned your heart away. He closed the doors gently, without chaos, without explanation. Because if He showed you the truth of some hearts, it would break you. So instead, He simply removed you, and you wondered, why did this end? Why did they change? Why do I feel far from them now? You didn't lose them. Your soul escaped them. Silent envy is more dangerous than open hate, because open hate can be seen. Open hate can be avoided. Open hate stands in front of you and declares itself. But hidden envy sits beside you, smiles, laughs, listens, pretends. It learns your dreams, so it knows what to pray against. It learns your wounds, so it knows where to strike. It learns your weaknesses, so it knows where to push. And yet, Allah did not allow it to reach you. He cut the cord before it tied around your neck. He took you away before your spirit was poisoned. You didn't walk away because you were done. You walked away because your soul recognized danger your mind couldn't identify. You don't need proof to protect your peace. You don't need explanations to trust your heart. You don't need closure when the closure is silent protection. Some people were removed not because of what they did to you, but because of what they would have done if they stayed. You were saved from damage that never got the chance to happen. Your separation was a victory you didn't even know you won. There is a kind of heaviness you feel around certain people, and you don't know why. They didn't insult you. They didn't hurt you directly. They didn't betray you, not in a way anyone could point at. But something inside you tightens. Your chest becomes heavier. Your energy becomes dimmer. Your thoughts become quieter. Your laughter becomes smaller. You find yourself shrinking around them, even if you don't understand why. This is your soul recognizing what your mind has not yet named. Some hearts look gentle on the outside but carry storms inside. They don't always speak their envy, they feed it. They nurture it. They protect it. But envy grows in silence. And when it grows, it changes the way they look at you. Not in the eyes, but in the heart. They don't clap when you succeed. They don't smile with truth when you are happy. They don't pray for your rise, they fear it. Not because they hate you, but because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. When someone envies you, your success feels like their failure. Your joy feels like their loss. Your rise feels like their humiliation. They will never say it. They will never show it. But your soul feels it. And Allah removes you from them even if it hurts you. You might think, they were my friend. They were family. We shared so much. We went through everything together. Yes, but time spent together does not mean hearts are aligned. Memories do not guarantee loyalty. History does not guarantee sincerity. You can share years with someone who would still rather see you fall than pass them. This is why some departures feel like your heart is being pulled out of your chest. Not because of loss, but because your heart knew it could not stay. Your soul knew it was being protected. Sometimes the distance begins in silence. You text less. You call less. The conversations dry up. The attachment loosens. Not dramatically, but gently. You don't even notice at first. It's slow, soft, unexplainable. That's mercy. Because if the truth was revealed all at once, it would break you. So Allah lets your heart detach quietly, so that when you finally look back, you realize, I didn't lose them. I regained myself. Because the version of you that stayed in that relationship was not you. It was a version trying to be loved, accepted, understood, safe. But your soul is tired of shrinking to fit inside spaces that were never meant for you. You were not meant to remain in the presence of hidden envy. Your heart was not created to live under silent resentment. Your spirit was not designed to survive in environments that celebrate your weakness, but grow quiet when you succeed. And your Lord knew. So he took you away before the envy could break you. The separation was not rejection. It was protection so perfect that you didn't even realize what danger you escaped. And one day, one ordinary day, you will look back and say, if I stayed with them, I would have lost myself. You didn't lose people. You lost illusions. You lost attachments. You lost the version of you that didn't know how to protect your own heart. And what returned? Your peace, your clarity, your dignity, your self-respect, your closeness to the one who always knew your worth. You are not alone. You are being guarded. And you will never understand how many harms you were saved from, because they never reached you. Solitude is where Allah rebuilds you. There are seasons in your life where the world grows quiet around you. People stop calling. The invitations slow down. The conversations fade. The circle becomes small, very small. At first, it feels like loss. It feels like something has gone wrong. It feels like life is moving without you, as if you've become invisible. But this quiet isn't a punishment. It's a sacred rebuilding. Life sometimes becomes silent because your soul needs to hear itself again. When you were surrounded by people, noise filled you. Everyone had something to say. Everyone had something they wanted from you. Everyone pulled on your energy, even the ones you loved. And you didn't notice how much of yourself you were giving away, piece by piece, day by day, smile by smile. You were present for others, but absent from yourself. So life began to close the doors. Not because the world rejected you, but because you needed room to breathe. The heart cannot heal where it was hurt. The mind cannot renew where it was overwhelmed. The soul cannot rise where it was suffocating. So solitude arrives, quietly, softly, without permission, without warning. You wake up one day and realize your life has become still, and that stillness feels unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable. Because you've spent so long filling your silence with people, you forgot how to sit with yourself. But listen carefully. In the silence, something begins to happen. Your heart begins to speak, not loudly, but gently. Your soul begins to unclench. Your thoughts begin to soften. Your breathing becomes slower. Your presence becomes real. You begin to feel again, not react. You begin to observe again, not rush. You begin to notice life, not chase it. And in that stillness, you realize something deeper. You were losing yourself in the noise. You were living for others, not for the truth inside your chest. Your identity was shaped by who clapped for you, who saw you, who approved of you. And now, with no audience, you must face the one person you've been avoiding, yourself. This is where the rebuilding begins. Not in public, not in front of others, not in the eyes of those who never understood you, but in the quiet, where only your soul can see its own wounds, where only your heart can hear its own exhaustion, where only your spirit can acknowledge how tired it truly is. In solitude, masks fall away. Pretending becomes impossible. The truth of who you are and who you've been carrying rises to the surface. You begin to understand. You were never meant to be constantly surrounded. You were never meant to give until you were empty. You were never meant to break yourself to keep connections alive. Solitude doesn't just rebuild you. It returns you to yourself. It reminds you of your worth without needing validation. It reminds you of your voice without needing applause. It reminds you of your strength without needing to prove it. You begin to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Who you were before heartbreak changed your vision. Who you were before disappointment hardened your softness. Who you were before pain carved itself into your chest. You begin to rebuild gently, not rushing, not forcing, not begging for healing, but allowing your soul to rise naturally, the way dawn happens, slow, steady, inevitable. You begin to enjoy your own company. Sitting alone doesn't feel lonely anymore. Your presence becomes enough. Your silence becomes full. Your heart becomes whole. And the most beautiful part? The people who are meant for the new you will find you on this quieter path, not the crowded one you left. You will not need to reach for them. You will not need to chase them. You will not need to prove anything. They will recognize you by your peace. But for now, your soul is rebuilding. And rebuilding requires space, stillness, gentleness, time. Do not rush this stage. Do not fear this stage. Do not fight this stage. This is where you are rewritten. This is where you rise again. This is where everything begins. There is a point in solitude where the silence stops feeling empty and begins to feel holy. Before this moment, you may feel restless. You may feel like you're missing something. You may feel like everyone else is living while you are paused. You look back and wonder, was it something I did? Did I push people away? Did I become too quiet, too distant? You question yourself because the world trained you to believe that value is measured by how surrounded you are, how busy you look, how many people think of you, call you, want you, choose you. But your soul knows something your mind is only now beginning to understand. The crowd was never where you were meant to find yourself. Your healing was never going to happen in the noise. Your breakthrough was never going to happen in the crowd. Your transformation was never going to happen while you were performing for connection. So life slowed because your soul needed room to exhale. You had been living under the weight of expectations, to be agreeable, to be available, to be strong, to be the one who holds everything together. You carried others even when you were falling apart inside. You comforted others while your own chest was burning. You were the safe place for everyone except yourself. So, solitude came to return you to you. It does not arrive softly. At first, it shakes you. It empties your life. It makes you feel like something is missing. But slowly, almost unnoticeably, the shift begins. Your sleep changes. Your breathing deepens. Your thoughts soften. Your heart stops running and begins listening. The silence teaches you to hear. The parts of you that were ignored, the pain you hid under strength, the questions you pretended not to feel. In solitude, nothing can distract you from truth. You begin to face the wounds you avoided, the memories you buried, the emotions you never allowed to be heard. You begin to realize you were exhausted, not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally. You were tired of being fine, tired of pretending, tired of holding everything together alone. In the quiet, your tears return, not as weakness but as cleansing. The tears you never allowed to fall finally find their way out, and you feel it, your heart opening again, slowly, carefully, tenderly, like a bruise being touched by light. This is where the rebuilding begins, not by adding anything, but by removing what was never yours to carry. All the expectations you tried to live up to, released. All the versions of you that were built for survival, released. All the attachments that were rooted in fear, released. And in that release, you feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Lightness. Not happiness that comes later, but lightness. The feeling of your chest no longer being weighed down. The feeling of your heart being allowed to just be. The feeling of yourself returning to yourself. You begin to notice the small things. The way the morning light feels, the way silence sounds, the way your breath settles, the way your heart whispers when everything else is still. You realize peace is not something you find. It's something that grows when everything that suffocates you is removed. And only solitude can do that. Only silence can do that. Only time alone with your own soul can do that. This stage is not loneliness. This stage is rebirth. You are not empty. You are clearing space. You are not being forgotten. You are being prepared. You are not being left behind. You are being lifted out of what was never meant to hold you. Do not rush what is happening to you. The world will return. People will return. Connection will return. But this time you will not lose yourself in it. You will not break yourself to be loved. You will not shrink yourself to be accepted. You will not silence yourself to keep peace. Because the version of you being built in solitude will no longer beg for what was never worthy of your heart. There will come a night, maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but a night where you are sitting alone with the quiet, and for the first time in a long time, you will not feel afraid of it. The loneliness that once felt like a wound will start to feel like a doorway. A doorway back to yourself. A doorway back to your purpose. A doorway back to peace. You will realize that the silence is not empty. You just needed time to grow into it. You may remember the days when you would chase people just to avoid this stillness. You would fill your hours with noise, conversations, social media, anything, just to not feel alone. You thought that being surrounded meant you were safe, but now you see the truth. Being surrounded meant you were distracted. Your heart was carrying emotions you never faced. Your soul was suffocating under a tension that never understood it. Your mind was sprinting through life just to avoid stopping long enough to feel the weight inside your chest. But solitude stops you, not to break you, but to allow you to finally see yourself, to see your scars, to see your softness, to see your strength, to see how far you have survived without even realizing it. The version of you, sitting here now, has lived through things that would have destroyed others. You bent but you did not collapse. You cracked, but you are still here. Your heart has been bruised, pulled, stretched, tired, yet it still loves. It still feels. It still hopes. That is not weakness. That is the proof of your spirit. So be gentle with yourself. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are simply being rebuilt, slowly, carefully, intentionally, away from the noise, away from the crowd, away from the expectations, away from the stories others wrote for you. A new version of you is forming, a version that knows peace is not found in people, but in alignment. A version that knows love is not proven by suffering, but by safety. A version that knows presence is not filled by numbers, but by sincerity. And when this rebuilding is complete, you will not return the same. People will notice the difference in your eyes first. The softness will be there, but there will be depth behind it now. A depth that was carved from surviving things alone. Your silence will carry weight. Your presence will feel grounded. Your heart will feel whole, not because someone held it together, but because you learned how to hold yourself. And when connections return, and they will, you will choose differently. You will choose peace over excitement. You will choose honesty over flattery. You will choose depth over attention. You will choose love that feels like quiet safety, not chaos. Because you finally understand, solitude was not a pause in your life. It was the workshop where your soul was being restored. You were being taught how to sit with yourself, so that when the world returns, you never lose yourself again. Allah removes to replace with better. There comes a moment in your journey where life feels like it is being emptied, not just of people, but of routines, environments, habits, patterns, and even parts of yourself. It feels like everything is slipping from your hands at once. You try to hold on, but the tighter you grip, the faster it all falls away. It feels unfair. It feels confusing. It feels like you are losing pieces of your life without knowing why. But what you don't realize is, you are not being stripped, you are being prepared. Every removal has meaning. Every distance has intention. Every ending has direction. Your heart is being cleared to receive something that cannot arrive while it is crowded. There are people who were in your life simply to serve a chapter, not the story. You loved them because of who you were then, but who you are becoming now cannot grow around them. There are environments you stayed in because they were familiar, not because they were right. There are habits you held onto because they were comforting, not because they were healthy. So life began to release them from you. Slowly, quietly, gently, but unmistakably. You thought this was loss, but it was exchange. Because when something leaves your life, something else is already on its way. Not always immediately, not always visibly, not always loudly, but silently, softly, perfectly timed. What is yours, truly yours, cannot pass you. And what leaves you truly leaves you because it was not meant to stay. Let that truth sink deep. If someone was meant to be in your life forever, you would not have had to fight to keep them. They would have chosen you in every season. They would have stood beside you in every storm. They would have grown with you, not against you. But when a person's role in your life is complete, the connection fades. Not because something went wrong, but because the story moved forward. You are not being abandoned. You are being transitioned. The heartache you feel is not a sign of loss. It is the sound of your soul making room. Room for what is more aligned with who you are now. Room for the love that will honor you. Room for the peace that will hold you. Room for the future that was written for your becoming, not your breaking. There is a person coming into your life who will understand you without you needing to explain yourself. There is a friend coming who will protect your heart the way you protect others. There is a love coming that will feel like home, not war. There is a peace coming that will feel like breathing without effort. There is a joy coming that will not be taken from you. But to receive what is written for your next life, you cannot carry the weight of your old one. This is why the endings felt sudden. This is why the distance felt unexplainable. This is why the separation felt confusing. You were being freed. Freed from what you would have held onto too tightly. Freed from what would have delayed your rise. Freed from what would have dimmed your spirit. The removal was mercy. The pain was cleansing. The emptiness was preparation, because what is coming is not small. What is coming is not temporary. What is coming is not shallow. What is coming is the kind of blessing that changes the way your soul breathes. But blessings need space. Peace needs space. Love needs space. Clarity needs space. So the universe cleared that space for you. Even when you didn't understand. Even when you cried. Even when you begged for what was leaving to stay. You were being taken towards something greater than what you were trying to hold on to. One day, not far from now, you will wake up and feel it. This is what the loss was making room for, and your heart will soften, your breathing will steady, your soul will finally exhale, and you will understand nothing was taken from you. Everything was being rearranged for your good. There is a quiet moment in healing when the ache finally stops hurting the way it used to. It doesn't disappear, it just changes shape. It stops feeling like a wound and starts feeling like a memory. And that is when you realize you didn't lose anything. You were simply making space for who you were always meant to become. At first, it felt like your heart was being emptied, but now it feels like something is opening, expanding, making room for something bigger than anything you've experienced before. This is the moment when the soul begins to whisper. What left was never the blessing. What is coming is, but the blessing doesn't rush in. It waits for your heart to finish letting go. It waits for your spirit to breathe again. It waits for your hands to stop holding the past. Because blessings do not settle in places still mourning what was. And so there comes a stretch of life where nothing feels certain. You're not who you were. You're not yet who you're becoming. You're in between, in the doorway, in the transition. This is the stage where many people panic. They try to run back to what is familiar, not because it was good, but because it was known. But your soul doesn't let you go back anymore. You try to return to old conversations, they feel shallow now. You try to return to old habits, they feel heavy now. You try to return to old people, you feel distant now. Your heart simply won't fit back into the life it outgrew. So, you learn to stand in the doorway, not rushing, not forcing, not chasing, just breathing. This is where the blessing begins to approach you quietly. In the way your heart starts healing, in the way your mind grows softer, in the way your soul starts trusting again. It always happens slowly. There will be a day where you look at your own reflection, not to check how you look, but to check if you've returned to yourself. And you'll notice your eyes carry more calm now. Your face holds a gentler softness. Your presence feels grounded. Your mind is clearer. Your chest is lighter. Something inside you has settled. This is the sign that the blessing is close. Because blessings do not come to the version of you that was breaking to survive. They come to the version of you that has learned how to be at peace with yourself. And when the blessing arrives, it will not feel like fireworks. It will not feel like noise. It will not feel like chaos. It will feel like coming home. It will feel like oxygen after years of trying to breathe underwater. It will feel like rest after running for too long. It will feel like warm light entering a room that has been dark for years. The blessing will not demand anything from you. It will not exhaust you. It will not confuse you. It will not make you question yourself. The blessing will feel natural, effortless, soft, true, safe, because what is meant for your soul does not disturb it. It nourishes it. And in that moment, you will finally understand why everything had to leave. You'll understand why certain people couldn't come with you. You'll understand why certain doors had to close. You'll understand why you cried the way you did. You'll understand why your heart had to break first. Your heart was being prepared to recognize what real love feels like. Not the kind you begged for, but the kind that comes freely. You were learning how to receive, not from fear, but from worthiness. Because the blessing was never just the thing you prayed for. The blessing is who you became while waiting for it. You became softer. You became wiser. You became deeper. You became stronger. You became more yourself. And that was the blessing unfolding long before it ever arrived. There will come a day not far from now where you wake up and something feels different. The weight you've been carrying for months, maybe years, will feel lighter. Your chest won't feel as tight. Your breathing will feel deeper. Your thoughts will feel calmer. You won't know exactly when it happened. Healing never announces itself. It doesn't arrive with a sign or a moment of realization. It just appears gently like morning light. And on that day, the pain that once shook your world will feel like a memory that shaped you, not destroyed you. You will look back at the person you used to be, the one who was fighting to hold on, and you will feel tenderness, not shame. Because now you will understand what that version of you could never see. You were not being abandoned. You were being prepared. What was removed from your life had to leave not because you were unworthy of it, but because you were growing past it. Your soul was expanding. Your spirit was rising. Your heart was being stretched into a new capacity. You were being prepared for love that doesn't break you to prove itself. Love that does not come with confusion. Love that does not feel like begging. Love that does not require you to lose yourself to keep it. A love where your heart can rest. You were being prepared for friendships that don't disappear when you need them, that don't compete with your growth, that don't envy your peace, that don't shrink when your spirit rises. Friendships that feel like warmth, that feel like home, that feel like, I see you, I value you, I protect your silence. You were being prepared for peace that is so deep, quiet, steady, that nothing from the outside can break it. The life you prayed for is not small, it is not rushed, it is not careless, it is intentional. And intentional blessings require intentional foundations. That is why everything had to fall apart first, not to break you, but to clear you, so that when the blessing finally arrives, it does not land on a wounded surface. It lands on a heart that is ready to hold it. This time, you will not be scared of losing it, because you will know. If something is meant for your soul, it will never require you to abandon yourself. If something is meant for your journey, it will walk with you, not against you. If something is meant for your future, it will feel like alignment, not chaos. Peace will not feel strange anymore. Love will not feel overwhelming. Happiness will not feel temporary. Rest will not feel dangerous. The new you will know how to receive what the old you prayed for. And when you finally step into that moment, when the blessing arrives so gently that it feels like it was always meant for you, you will whisper to your own heart, "Now I understand. Now I understand why it had to end. Now I understand why they could not stay. Now I understand why I was pulled away. Now I understand why I walked alone. Now I understand why I cried in silence. Now I understand why the world had to grow quiet. Because the blessing that is coming needed this version of me. Not the one who was clinging, not the one who was breaking, not the one who was empty, but the one who learned how to stand, the one who learned how to breathe, the one who learned how to let go, the one who learned how to trust. The blessing is not just what you receive at the end. The blessing is you, the one who made it through. Listen, before this video ends, I want you to understand something. You were never forgotten, not for a single moment, not in your silence, not in your confusion, not in your loneliness. Everything you went through, every separation, Every disappointment, every closed door was not life hurting you. It was life reshaping you. You didn't lose anyone you needed. You didn't lose anything that was meant to stay. You simply outgrew what was too small for the person you are becoming. Your heart was being upgraded. Your spirit was being strengthened. Your destiny was being protected. And now, you're entering a new chapter. A quieter one. A deeper one. A more honest one. Where peace isn't something you chase. It's something that grows inside you. Where love doesn't drain you. It restores you. Where the right people don't question your worth. They recognize it. Your story did not end when things fell apart. Your story began there. So, don't rush your healing. Don't fear your solitude. Don't look back at what was removed. What's coming is gentle. What's coming is steady. What's coming is better than everything you thought you lost. So tonight, as you close your eyes, rest. Just rest. You are being guided. You are being rebuilt. You are being prepared for something sacred, something special, something written only for you. Your silence has meaning. Your tears have purpose. Your journey is not over. You're just getting started. And the next chapter will make every moment of loneliness make sense. If your heart felt this, stay with me. There is more healing ahead.